Game you're about to see probably goes on my list of top 10 ever, top 10 of all time games with the most unexpected result. There are certain times in chess when you just know what's going to happen. I've played chess for 30 years. I just know when somebody's going to win or lose a game, and sometimes you're wrong. And well, you're going to see what I'm talking about. This is let's just take a look. I don't want to spoil it. Let's just take a look. So here we go. Sicilian, I played my bishop b5 check lines as I usually do. a4. I've talked about this before. I'm going to recapture if black wants to trade and open up my rook. Attacks my pawn on e4. So I defend with the knight. We castle, we develop. Bishop to g5, followed by queen to d2. Very common maneuver when somebody fianchettos the bishop. If you don't want to deal with that pesky bishop along the long diagonal, you can make a battery with your queen and bishop. You can come down here, and you can trade it off, and problem solved. You don't have to worry about it anymore. Rook to e1, h3, kind of a useful move. Stops the knight and the bishop from going here, and I don't have to worry about a back rank checkmate in the future because my king has a place to go. Decided to go ahead for this trade because I noticed that I would either do one of two things here. Number one, if he takes this way, I've kind of messed up the pawn structure. We've got double pawns. This is kind of a weak pawn. And if he takes with the bishop, as in the game, it was going to allow me this fork, which, again, would force the pawns to end up that way. So however you look at it, the pawn structure was going to get messed up. So that's what happened. Queen to h6. I just wanted to put the queen over there and then think about how can I get a rook over there or a knight or something? Push the h pawn. Like, I wasn't exactly sure, but I figured my position was really solid. Like, I don't really have any weaknesses that black can attack. So I can afford to play random moves like this that maybe are just the start of a longer plan, right? He brings the knight in. Decided to go ahead and trade. I actually missed this in-between move, which was kind of annoying, but at the same time, it was also like, all right, well, now I have the G file that I can use. So I wasn't totally upset about that. King to h2, I wanted some support on the pawn, even though it was already defended, but I wanted some extra support there, and I wanted to really make way for the rooks. Okay, great. Rook comes over. He was trying to go here and fork these guys, right? But if he goes there now, I've added a pin, so I simply take the rook. So, king to h8, no more pin. So guess what? Rook h5 is now a threat, which attacks the queen, and like I said, threatens the checkmate. I have to deal with that. I played rook to g3 to defend here, so that when rook h5 happens, I have time to move my queen to safety, which is exactly what happened. He plays d5, played b3. I wanted to actually defend this pawn. I wanted to use my other rook, but I felt like maybe, if I would have done this, black could have actually just gotten away with taking a free pawn, and I didn't really have a clear, follow-up, and so I figured it was worth my time to go ahead and defend that guy. So he pushes, I go here, all right, the rook comes over, and then I didn't want to trade queens because I was still hoping to launch an attack on the king here. And here's an interesting idea. I'm losing a pawn temporarily, right? Because there's two attackers. But whenever the pawn captures, notice the tripled pawns that get created. Tripled pawns are usually easy targets later in the game. So I was banking on the fact that, all right, I lose the pawn temporarily, but later I can take advantage of that. So that's what I'm trying to do here. Pile up on those weak pawns. He defends. I force a trade. And then the rook comes over. Here we go. I did win one pawn, and I missed this one. Nice little tactic there that I did not see because my queen is pinned, right? So I can't take that. I was expecting in my mind something like takes, and I was going to be pretty happy. Now, that being said, my position is still pretty good here because I can take and get my rook to the 7th rank. Now, we've talked about this in previous videos. Rooks on the 7th rank are usually pretty good, especially when you can get two of them. In this case, I just have one, and unfortunately, black does have the option to force me to leave if he wants, and that's what they did. Played rook here. Now, I wasn't exactly sure if I should take the draw here or not, because, yes, I have the extra pawn here, and my rook feels like it's a little bit more active, but black does have the outside passed pawn. Now, outside passed pawns are kind of important in chess because they're sort of off to the side and away from the action, which you might think is not an advantage, but actually sometimes it is an advantage because if you imagine if we trade rooks here and then he starts to kind of push this, I have to keep my king here. I have to, at least long enough until black's king leaves, and then I can take the pawn. But if he times it at the right moment, and then his king just sort of comes over while I'm off getting this pawn, maybe I lose like all my pawns or something on the other side of the board. So you have to be very careful with the outside pass pawn. That's why I wasn't sure if I should go for the win or if I should just take the draw. And so I decided to actually go for it. I played rook f5 thinking that I would start hunting some of these pawns. Brought my king up, played f4, and then he defends. So he's got his pawn chain here, and like we talked about, the outside Mr. Harry. a5. What am I trying to do? Well, if he takes me, I've created double isolated pawns, and then I'm just going to start gobbling up all of these weak pawns. That's a nice little sacrifice. Of course, he doesn't take. He activates the king. And here I push. Now, sometimes when you have a pawn like this, you can do a little trick. And I got a little bit too fancy. All right, I got a little bit too fancy. And you can see the eval bar there. I'm in control. I have the better position. My king is smack dab in the middle, supporting this guy. It's well defended. I could also go this way if I need to. My rook is active. But I got carried away, okay? And here's what I did. I wanted to come down, come over, come up, because if I force the rook away, I can grab this and try to get a queen. At least that was my idea, which is it's way too slow to just let him like throw his pawn down the board. I can't do that. I just can't. And so he wisely gets the rook behind the pawn. This is one of the principles in chess. Rooks go behind past pawns, and this is exactly why. This pawn is ready to go, and it's going to have support all along the way, which makes it extremely dangerous. So if I was smart, right now I would say, nope, we got to stop that. Let's bring my king back and get in front of it, right? Something like this. This is what I should have done right here. And I'm still in control of the game. But instead, I just was, I don't know. For some reason, I was convinced that I had to do this plan. It was a bad plan in this situation, and yet I couldn't get it out of my head. So I went over there. The pawn pushed. I kept going with my plan, and now I'm just dead lost. He just goes back. He's like, fine, you can take that pawn, but guess what? Mine's going to be faster, and I don't have an advantage on the clock or anything else that I could, And so it was just a bad ending, right? But you can't click off yet because you have to see the most important part of this game. So here we go. He pushes the pawn. I didn't know what to do because I have no way to stop it. My king can't. It just keeps going. My rook can't get there. There's no open files. Look at this. All the files are blocked off. I can't get my rook back here to get in front. Just can't do it. I'm like, well, at least I can take a pawn. What else can I do? Let me push this, and there's the skewer. That's it. Right? Now, I've got to tell you, by the way, there's mate in 3 from here, if you're wondering. He just goes check, and then there's mate. I've got to tell you, I believe at my level, the 2400 level, probably 98% of players are going to be resigning the game right here. Right here. If not here, after the queen gets captured, you can just resign. Like, what am I going to do? Push my pawn? I can't push my pawn. He just puts his king in front of it. Takes my pawn. He wins. He just wins the game. What am I going to do? Push this? Push this? Just get captured? I'm down on the clock. He's got twice my time, pretty much. I'm telling you guys, 98% of people I think would resign here. I'm one of the crazy 2 that for whatever reason decided to play on. And watch what happens. He goes here. He's going to come take my pawn. Okay, fine. I'm like, I'll just, I was thinking to myself, like, I'll just take this pawn and maybe take this pawn and, like, I don't know what I was thinking. He goes check. I'm like, whatever. I go here. He moved the queen to e5. I don't know if this was like a you just forgot which direction the pawns were going for a split second. If it was a mouse slip, he was trying to take this, but he slipped the queen there. If it was, the dog jumped on the keyboard and moved the mouse, so like, I don't know. The dude had 30 seconds. I had 23 seconds. This is like I said, one of the most surprising games I think I've ever seen. I won the game. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'll never resign another game of chess because I should not have won that game. I should not have won the game. What do you guys think about that? I mean, how does this make you feel? How does this make you feel right here? Please let me know. Thanks for watching. Stay sharp, play smart, and take care. And don't resign, because you never know. You never know.